Yeah, g'day. Now, this is not a tech review channel, but there's a few aspects of wireless microphones which normally don't get talked about. So I thought it might be a public service announcement if I talked a little about the difference between the Røde Wireless Go and the Hollyland Lark M2 microphones. Mail time. Oh yeah. So this is my old microphone. Its battery was getting a little bit worn out, so I tried to put a new battery in it, but I managed to kill it. And then Oleg saw my video on this and offered to fix it for me. And he's got it working again. Thanks a lot, Oleg. Let's take a look at what he did. Now, all I had done was replace the battery pack in the transmitter, which was basically just I soldered 3 wires. But that was enough to stop the thing working on battery. It was still working on USB power for some reason. So after that, Oleg worked his troubleshooting magic and worked out that I'd somehow managed to fry the battery's controller, and went ahead and ordered some parts and did what you do. And now I don't know if this resistor is the only component that he needed to replace. These little SMD parts sure are fiddly to work with, aren't they? Being good at this stuff, Oleg also cleaned up the mess that I'd made of the soldering. Oleg did ask if I still wanted to replace those main batteries, but since it's now my secondary unit, it's probably fine as it is. And what's this? Ooh, yum, caramels. I love those Polish caramels. Thanks very much. In the package, there's also this. It's a power meter for the USB port. Thanks very much, Oleg. That's going to come in handy, I'm sure. Right, just a bit of backstory. I did my first YouTube videos shot with this camera and just used the microphones in the camera, which generally sound like crap. And I quickly picked up what everyone says, which is audio is way more important than video, and therefore I got this little dictaphone out of the classifieds and started using that. I probably used that for nearly a year. Works surprisingly well, but of course you got the pain in the neck of syncing the external audio to the scratch track from the camera. But hey, most software can do that pretty well these days. The next development was to move up to a camera that actually had an external microphone port, and that's when I got the Røde Wireless Go microphones so that I wouldn't get caught up in cables the whole time. The next development was I got curious about 32-bit float audio. I picked up this used, and I had it set up on a bracket here with like the receiver attached and its line out going up to the camera, but I found 32-bit float recording, while it adds some headroom to prevent clipping, if I did switch back to the normal microphone direct into camera, I had to go into the settings and change some settings, and I found that I forgot the settings often enough that I was making more errors than I was saving through preventing clipping. So I eventually decided, nah, that's too complicated, and just went back to putting the microphone onto the rig directly and running it straight into the camera. So if I was happy with them, why did I get new microphones? Well, there were really 2 reasons. The first was that after 3 years, the batteries were starting to get weak. The second issue was that it's just a single microphone, and although most of my videos are just one person, sometimes it helps to wire up somebody else with audio as well. So just after I bricked this transmitter, Hollyland's Lark M2 kit was on special on Amazon for like less than the price of a single Røde Wireless Go, so I got it. Right, now while most of this video is about wireless microphones, I'm actually shooting most of it with a Audio Technica mic through my F6 Zoom, because this way it's easier just to switch around between mics. This is not going to be a typical tech review video. There are plenty of people who do that, and way better than I ever would, so you can go and find all the specifications from them. There's just a couple of aspects of each of these microphones which don't really show up in anybody else's videos, so I thought I'd bring them to your attention. Now for my usage, things like range and stuff are pretty irrelevant. I'm always shooting my videos down in my workshop, and I'm never further than probably 10 meters from the microphone. One of the aspects that no one ever talks about, but is really quite a significant issue when you're making videos like like this, working with cameras and video equipment every day, is how to turn things on and off. Both of these have the same sort of system where to turn it off, you just push the button and hold it. Same here. And eventually things turn off. That drives me crazy. Because when you're turning on multiple devices, your camera, lights, a monitor, microphone and receiver, having to push buttons for 5 seconds before they go on, this really gets annoying. With the Wireless Go, what I would tend to do is just turn them on at the start of a session, use them for my entire evening or whatever while I was filming, and when I was finished, pull them off the camera, turn them off, and plug them both into my charging station. What's pretty clever with these things is anytime you take them out of the charging station, they turn themselves on. I really like that. That's a great feature. So normally, I never turn them on or off. I just, at the start of each session, pull them out of here, put this on my camera, put this on my shirt, and start recording. Reverse at the end. So as convenient as that is, there's also a downside. The transmitter on the Wireless Go has its USB port on the side, so I don't have to take the dead cat off every time I use it. You'll hear quite a lot of complaints about the way the dead cat gets held on with these tiny little clips. To be honest, I found it worked pretty well. You can see that this one's so old and scungy, it's full of grinder dust. It was supposed to look like this when it was new. I can't complain about that. It's even a little bit sort of melted from angle grinder sparks, but it still works fine. Whereas here, every time I use it, pull it out, take the magnet off, get the dead cat, stretch it over, it's kind of like putting a fitted bed sheet on every single time. The Hollyland actually takes longer if you manually turn them on and off, but luckily you don't have to. Because they automatically turn on when you remove them from the case, I see that as a benefit. The downside of that being I have to remove the dead cat to fit the thing into the case. So yeah, 6 in one, half dozen in the other. The battery indications are handy, but they're reasonably conservative. It'll stay on that one dot of red battery power for quite a long time. I've never timed it exactly, but it'll keep going for a fair bit of time. The battery life on the Lark is shown by the colour of the LEDs on the back. The second issue we have on both of these is audio levels. One thing you have to be a little careful of is there's 3 settings of how loud you want the microphone to be. And because I'm using Panasonic cameras, which have pretty hot preamps, I really need to keep this at the lowest level. It's quite easy to bump that and not notice it, and then have your audio clipping. The audio level adjusts done on the Hollyland with this knob. It feels like it's an encoder, has no hard stops, it's just got clicks, and it gives you 3 levels of click. I find it very easy to bump that. I'm actually considering putting a spot of hot glue on that to lock it in the lowest gain position. Turns out that wasn't the best place to put that blob. Lid doesn't close. These are quite close fitting, so I'll have to come up with another solution of how to stop that from rotating. I do like the design with the clip that also fits into a hot shoe or cold shoe. That's a great idea. When the camera's not in use, I just store the transmitter on the spare cold shoe. Whereas with the Hollyland Larks, they always go back into their charging station. I like both ways. I don't see a significant advantage either way. Clips onto your clothes quite well if you have something like a zip. I personally don't like wearing them up here. I find I make too many sibilant sounds. I don't like the sound when they're up here, so I tend to just like pinch and stick them onto my t-shirt. It seems very omnidirectional. It doesn't really make much difference with this microphone which way it's oriented. Now instead of a clip, these ones hold on with a magnet, which is a pretty cool system, except I already lost the magnet off this one, so I've just stuck a tiny magnet on the back for now. I'll go onto Amazon and buy some more 18mm round magnets to replace the one I lost. Now obviously you're going to go crazy at me in the comments section if I don't do any form of audio comparison. So for this clip I've got all 3 options. I've got the external microphone through the Zoom recorder, I've got the Hollyland, and I've got the Røde mic. I'll give a bit of a flick backwards and forth between the 3 of them. You probably get a significant difference in sound to the external microphone, whereas these 2 to me sound pretty much the same. The Rode Wireless Go flops around a little bit. So if I move while I'm working and stuff, you'll sometimes hear little bumps from that. But otherwise, it doesn't seem to pick up plosives too badly. So in this case, it's almost directly below my nose. If I breathe out through my nose, shouldn't make too much of a plosive. So if I have the Hollyland directly below my nose with the dead cat off it, often when I'm working, I'm looking down as well. It's kind of typical with machining parts or working at the bench. And if I breathe out through my nose, you get those nasty plosives. And that's a real pain when I'm trying to edit, because I've got to get in there and edit all of those out. And some of them don't come out that easily. So that's why I'm using the dead cat every single time. And I'm not that happy about that. And that's the reason you'll normally see the Hollyland moved off my sort of center axis, because of those plosives. I think the form factor of mounting microphones with the magnet works for me, excepting that I'm going to be losing magnets constantly. That's no big deal. I'll buy like a 5-pack of 18mm magnets from Amazon, and yeah, as I lose them, I'll just replace them. I don't care if it's got the logo on it or anything, that's no big deal. Hollyland have brought out an even newer version of this set, the Lark, where instead of the magnets, they have like a built-in clip, so you can clip onto the edge of clothing. Because I'm mostly a no-collar worker and just wearing t-shirts, I find the t-shirt collar too high. I need my microphone further away. That's the reason I went for this older model with the magnets rather than the most recent one with the clip. One other thing to think about, the reason my Rode needed repair was because I'd tried to replace its battery. Those little lithium-ion battery packs are connected with 3 wires, so they are replaceable. I'm assuming the battery in the Hollyland is going to be very highly integrated onto the circuit board to enable them to get it this small. So that kind of speaks against any ability to repair that in the future. Well, that's the end of my public service announcement. So to summarize, I think that the Rode Wireless Go and the Hollyland Lark sound pretty much the same, and both of them have acceptable wireless coverage for my needs. And this is pretty typical of modern equipment. Once you've reached that threshold of being acceptable in the main parameter, you know, the audio sounds fine, the video sounds fine, the lens is sharp, how you interface with the device becomes far more important. Like, I care a lot more about little issues like turning the things on and off or getting the dead cat on and off than I do about audio with these microphones, because they sound roughly the same. I used the Wireless Go for over 3 years. I've used the Lark for about 3 months, I guess now, 2 to 3 months. So with that in mind, would I recommend either the Rode Wireless Go or the Hollyland Lark system? And I would say both. They both have their advantages and disadvantages in these slight little areas, but at the end of the day, they both get the job done well. Because they are so similar on their primary parameter, which is sound quality, it comes down to a style question of which of the smaller details is important to you. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to Oleg for reaching out and supporting the channel by fixing that microphone. I will still use them. Now having the Wireless Go on my B camera means I don't have to swap things backwards and forwards. Thank you very much. If you're enjoying the channel in general, I've got a live stream for my Patreons and members coming up on Sunday in the evening European time, sometime in the morning on Sunday in US time. I'd appreciate your support for the channel, and I'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching.